DreamWorks has an interesting reputation. After movies like Shrek and Kung Fu Panda, and movies like, okay. How to Train Your Dragon takes the cake for one of the most beautiful movies ever made. And while I can talk about this movie forever, I instead want to talk about the music. John Powell wrote one of the best scores of all time in any movie genre, not talking about just animated, I mean any time ever. He's also the person who brought us Shrek,
Donkey,
and Kung Fu Panda. One of the most important parts of a musical score is the motifs and underlying relationships. So first off, let me define a motif. A motif is a reoccurring thought or object, or in our case, musical theme that represents something, a feeling, a memory, or anything like that to that degree. So today I wanted to go over 4 scenes from How to Train Your Dragon and why they are the best scenes, and the motifs in that scene and why they all combine to create one of the best scores of all time. So let's start off with the beginning scene. We literally get all the motifs we're gonna need for all the relationships and theme of each character. Within the first 10 seconds, we get Hiccup's theme.
My village. In a word, sturdy. And it's been here for 7 generations, but
A theme that we will hear later on, and a theme that will be talked about pretty much for every single scene that I'll be talking about today. As Hiccup describes Berk and what it's like living there, we hear a lot of different musical themes played in the background, and one that I want to point out here is Hiccup and Astrid's theme.
Astrid.
So first, I want to talk about the best part of the music, and that is how it portrays Hiccup and Toothless's relationship. After Hiccup shoots Toothless down, he goes to look for him, and when he finds him, Toothless literally slams his head against a rock.
boy, if you don't get
It's insane. Here we hear a minor key of Toothless's theme. It sounds unfamiliar and scary, and that is because this is the first interaction, so it's no surprise that they're scared of each other. Hiccup looks into Toothless's eyes and sees that Toothless feels the exact same way Hiccup feels. And as Hiccup learns that Toothless is tailless, he visits Toothless because he feels bad and relates to Toothless. This is where we get the second perfect scene in the movie, the forbidden friendship scene. So Hiccup brings food to Toothless, and Toothless is kind of cold and ignoring him. So Hiccup starts drawing in the dirt, and Toothless has another idea. Toothless starts drawing a maze, I guess you can say what that would be called, in the dirt, and we pretty much hear Toothless's theme in a major key that sounds friendly and familiar. The peak of the scene is when Hiccup is trying to walk through the Toothless's maze, and every time he steps on a drawn line, Toothless growls. This all adds up to Hiccup touching Toothless's nose after Hiccup puts all of his trust in the Toothless by looking away. This is the first scene where we get the friendship development between the two. This scene is really, really crucial for Toothless in particular because he is learning to trust somebody and trust people that have killed many, many dragons before, and someone that he shouldn't trust. And make sure to note that Toothless does not trust Hiccup until Hiccup trusts Toothless and closes his eyes and looks away and puts all of his faith into Toothless. And then Hiccup starts to build fake tails to help Toothless fly, and that brings us to the next scene, Test Drive. The test drive scene is probably the best scene in the whole entire movie. Here both themes are working together. As Hiccup and Toothless are floating through the air, we just hear Toothless's thing because he's doing all the work, just floating in the air with the wind.
We're gonna take this nice and slow. Here we go. Here we go. Position 3, no 4.
But as Hiccup takes control and controls the tail, we hear Hiccup's theme.
Alright, it's go time. It's go time. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy.
Anytime Hiccup is not controlling the tail, we hear Toothless themes as Toothless is in control of the flying. This all builds up to the peak of the scene and to the peak of the movie, in my opinion. As they get a little bit more adventurous, Hiccup's cheat sheet flies off and he becomes unhooked. They start plummeting literally 1,000,000 miles per hour into the ground. And eventually, somehow, against probably all of physics, Hiccup connects himself back to Toothless, but without one thing, his cheat sheet. Rocks are quickly approaching and there is no time to think. So Hiccup and Toothless work together and we hear their theme playing at the same time to signify their friendship coming into one. Toothless's theme is a little bit harder to hear. It's the strings in the background, but Hiccup's theme is the really loud, just one that's straight ahead. He's doing more of the work, but it's a pretty epic scene. It is the perfect way to show that two characters who were distrusting each other now trust each other by bringing into their two themes into one. They both depend on their survival. Toothless more so, but Hiccup finds solitude and a sense of belonging with Toothless, and that's something that he's never felt anywhere else. There is no better scene in this movie than the test drive scene, and that's something to be said because this movie is really good. So then I want to talk about our last scene, and that is romantic flight. So Astrid, of course, finds out that Hiccup is holding a dragon, and as she runs away, Hiccup picks her up with the dragon and was like, give us one chance. And she is distrusting. She doesn't believe, right? She hates the dragon. She wants to kill the dragon. Toothless is putting them to the ringer. And once she says sorry, we get Astrid's theme. We've heard this theme in the very beginning of the movie when Hiccup first mentioned Astrid. Because of this, we know how much this means to Hiccup. We know that there's a relationship starting to form with them as well. And I will say, one of the criticism, Astrid shows no interest into Hiccup whatsoever and is actually really an asshole to Hiccup. And then all of a sudden it kind of 180 flips, and that's a little bit weird, and I think there should have been a little more development there, but I guess the power of Toothless, right? Even though this scene is primarily about Astrid and Hiccup's relationship flourishing, I think it also shows that Toothless and Hiccup's relationship has taken another step. Because now Toothless is willing to trust whoever puts trust into Toothless. And that's something that he would have never done before. There are a lot of more scenes that involve the music and musical motifs that I could talk about. I could talk about pretty much every single scene, like the scene where Hiccup is seeing Toothless get taken off on the boat. That one's another really good musical moment with their themes together. I mean, overall, How to Train Your Dragon is a really beautiful movie about judging things that you don't understand and not fully knowing, and also not feeling like you belong in a certain society. The way Hiccup and Toothless relationship develops through the use of music is really, really genius and adds onto that extra touch that makes it just not a kid's movie. Like, sure, it's animated and sure we had the McDonald's play toys, but at the end of the day, this movie is a lot more than a kid's movie, and it's just a testament to life. So yeah, I have a whole lot more thoughts on the movie overall, and if you guys want me to get into those, let me know. I can create a another video talking about How to Train Your Dragon and why it's one of the best animated movies of all time. So thank you all for watching. I'll keep this one a little bit shorter, and I'll see you all next time.